Hello, and today we're going to be talking about something called the sine rule. So what the sine rule does is it allows you to work out a angle or side depending on what information you have. So let's prove and show a little bit of notation before we actually apply it. So let's start with this triangle here. So as you can see, I've labeled A, B, and C, and they form a triangle here. And in order for the sine rule to work, we need to know what these sides are. So the general convention is the opposite of the point is the lowercase letter of that point. So for example, C, the opposite length is little c. Opposite of A is going to be little a. Same goes with B. So now I want to work out, now I'm going to split this triangle into something that we're more familiar with. It's a right angle triangle, and I'm going to label this dotted line here H. So what I've effectively done is I've dropped a line straight from B all the way to AC and just made it right angle. So now I want to work out what sine capital A is. So sine capital A, so this angle here equals what? Well, first let's write SOHCAHTOA. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So the opposite of A, H, over the hypotenuse, which is C. Now don't get confused that this here is the hypotenuse. No, the hypotenuse is always opposite the right angle here, which means that C is our hypotenuse for this particular triangle here. So now I want to solve for H, so I'm going to times C on both sides, so we get H equals C sine A. So now I'm going to move to this angle here, C, and I'm going to work out the exact same thing, but for sine capital C. So sine capital C is equal to the opposite H divided by the hypotenuse. So here's our right angle for this particular triangle. Opposite the right angle is our hypotenuse. Our hypotenuse is A. So now I want to sub what we worked out H to be. So sine C equals C sine A divided by A. So now I want to get this C over to the other side here. So I'm going to divide both sides by C. So we now get sine C divided by C equals sine A divided by A. And you can find that all this is equal to sine B over B. Why? If we apply the same logic to this exact same triangle, we can find the exact same is true. So now with our newfound knowledge, what have we found? Well, what we found is this here. I'm going to put a box around it. So what that is there is the sine rule. Now the sine rule can be written in two different ways. The way that I've shown you here, where sine C divided by C, all the rest of it. Another way to write it is the opposite. So instead of sine being on the top, it's now on the bottom. Now, both of these are the sine rule, but depending on what you want, depends on which version you shall use. So if you want to find an angle for an example, you have to use the sine rule. So if you want to find an angle and you have enough information to apply the sine rule, then which one should you use? The answer is this one, and we'll go into that later. So that's all the time that I have for today for the sine rule. In the next video, I'll be actually applying the sine rule to find a length of a side and a angle of one of these triangles, and we can see how we can apply it to real world situations. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me on social media or in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.